Hey, Fanboy Nation.
This is your pal Daffy Duck, and you're watching.
We're watching Fanboy.
A fanboy, etc.
Fanboy Nation.
I assume Tom.
Today we are talking to Tari, T-A-R-I, because her mom gave her a cool spelling, Tari Kelly, who's playing Mrs. White in Clue at the Segerstrom Theater here in Orange County, California, in Costa Mesa specifically, running from July 23rd through the 28th. Tari, it's a pleasure to chat with you.
It's wonderful to be here. Thanks for having me.
So I have to ask, because I have not seen Clue in person. I've seen the movie, I've played the game. The movie has like 8 different endings because they had fun with that. Do we get multiple endings in the play? Like if I come on the 23rd, it's going to be a different ending on the 24th, or is it going to be consistent across the board?
I guess you'll have to see. No, I'm not going to be cheeky about it. There are multiple endings within the show itself. We don't pick a new murderer every night. It's not like that kind of concept. I think there was one for a while that did something similar to that. But no, but there are multiple endings within the show every night.
You know, it sounds like it's a good time. The movie was fantastic. That was always fun. We just recently lost Richard Mull, who was in the original film, and I'm totally butchering his last name right now.
Martin Mull. Yeah, Martin Mull.
Martin Mull. Thank you.
No worries.
Yeah, Martin Mull. Sorry, to his family and to his friends. You know, we lost him. He was in the first film, which was absolutely incredible. What's it like realizing that Tim Curry, Martin, everybody else was so iconic in the film to now bring it to life on stage? Like, is there added pressure to that, or is it because it's a different medium, it feels easier?
It neither, actually. I mean, I look at it as like they've entrusted me with this character that Madeline Kahn, who I absolutely worship as a comedic actress. I love watching her. I've always loved watching her. And I look at it as an added extra bonus for me because I'm entrusted with what she did, right? But there is a little bit of pressure, like for me, with the flames on the side of my face. That's on T-shirts. It's you know, there are memes, and you can every night when I go to do it, because it is in the show. No spoilers, but of course it is. You can feel everyone getting excited about it, and like so. There's a little bit of pressure there, but no, I think overall we all just really have a lot of respect for what the movie did. You know, we've all watched it and loved it. And the fact that they chose us to represent that, we feel like we have this precious baby that we have to deliver every night, you know, in a way. And so it's kind of like in between what you asked, actually.
Yeah, because it is one of those things. Like the movie was there, the board game's iconic in and of itself.
Yes.
And now the stage show, which was on Broadway and is now touring across the country.
Actually, it wasn't ever on Broadway.
Well, then that's Broadway's fault. They put Spider-Man on Broadway.
We are hoping, like, can we just come in with this show? I mean, I'm just putting it out there. We really, really want that to happen, because I think it would be a really great thing for Broadway to have. It's actually done everything in reverse, what a show usually does. It has started regionally. Now we're on a tour. And so we're all going, so next up Broadway, right? Isn't that how we're going to do it in reverse?
You know, leave it to New York to like put Spider-Man on Broadway, to put Rocky on Broadway. Love the Rocky movies, don't get me wrong, but you know, put Rocky on Broadway, but Clue is missing. Right,
Clue is missing. But you know, it is such a huge hit. I mean, everywhere we go, I'm just going to say this too. It's amazing to me that we are filling up these huge houses, and then the collective applause we hear every night when the show starts and they hear the iconic da 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 from the movie, because we have that score in the play as well. It really bolsters us as actors to hear the audience embracing and excited to be there, because they obviously know the movie. So yeah.
You know, we have a special event coming up as part of everything that's going on at Segerstrom. It's going to be, you know, there's this like little cosplay thing where people are going to dress up ahead of time on the, you know, and come out and maybe try to solve the mystery themselves or be a part of it. Take us a little bit into that and how that plays into the show and adding mystique to it.
Well, it's really pretty wild when you look out in the audience and you see people dressed up, or you come out afterwards to sign autographs and there's people dressed up as your character. Seeing all the different people, Mrs. Peacock and Mrs. White, those are two of the biggest ones we see all the time. Um, it just means that people are really into it and they're really invested. And I mean, I don't feel like these people are coming with their arms crossed, like, impress me, let's see what you got. No, they're coming out of pure joy and pure excitement to see another version of this movie that they love so much.
You know, when something like this happens, and not only is it this fan appreciation, but the aspect of almost singing along for people that have seen the show multiple times. How interesting is that for you? Because, you know, people, I mean, we have a 5-day run here at the Segerstrom, and
Yes.
then, you know, I believe it's been at the Pantages, or
It's going, we're going there right after, actually,
right.
for a month. Yeah.
Okay, so sometimes it comes to Pantages and then comes to us in Orange County, and sometimes it goes from Orange County to
Right.
Pantages. I wasn't sure about the order. So it's going there after the Orange County run. You know, what's it like when people are like, I saw you in San Diego, I saw you in Chicago, I saw you in Houston or wherever, and like have actually followed the show almost like deadheads?
It's pretty cool. I mean, honestly, I'm like, part of me goes, how do you afford that? That's where I go. I'm like, really? You're good. But no, it's actually, it's pretty wild to think that somebody loves something that much and that they're really invested in not only what the show is, but what we're doing with it. I mean, it's really a huge compliment, and it's really quite inspiring in a way to, like, oh, there's so and so, our fan from, you know, Boston, who came all the way to Houston to see us. It means we're doing something right, I guess. You know, that's how I look at it.
Yeah. Take us through the casting process and how you were cast as Mrs. White for the musical.
Sure. It's actually a play. It's not a
Sorry.
musical. No, it's okay.
I see. I keep
Wanna-
reading everything wrong because I get it. It was like, oh, it's a musical. No, it's a play. Oh, it was in Broadway. No, it's not on Broadway. Like
no,
this is
yeah,
my
no,
fault for
it's
not
funny.
following up ahead of time and just reading press releases.
No, there's also misconceptions, I think, because we've had that a lot. People think it's a musical, and I just want to let people know it is not a musical, but it has a musical sensibility. Okay. There's all of us who are in it are musical theater actors, and you need that kind of actor to be in this kind of show because there is a musicality to it. It's very fast paced. There is underscoring that we have with, so it's like the movie in that way. There's a little tiny couple of moments where we dance, very small. Um, but we don't ever break out into song. Just want to get that out of the way, but it has a sensibility. The casting process for this was, I had done it regionally. Again, as we've talked about, everything with this particular show, Clue, has been done in reverse. So it was a huge hit regionally, and I did a really great production at Stages St. Louis, that won all the awards for St. Louis last year, like best play, best cast. It was really great. They sold out all their shows there. And this was a theater that did nothing but musicals. And they did a play, and it became their bestseller. Okay. So when it came time for the national tour to be casting, I just wanted to throw my hat in the ring. So thank goodness the director had seen me in the Stages St. Louis production, and she was very interested in me. And so I just went in. I made a tape first, because that's the way of the world now. You make a tape to see if they want to call you back. And I had a call back. Did the material in the room with a reader. And then a few weeks later, I got a call that I was going out on tour. I mean, that's how it was. And that's how it was for a lot of us. And the most interesting thing about this particular cast, if I may say, is there are people who have done it elsewhere at other regional theaters, a few different theaters. I've done it at a regional theater. We have our Wadsworth, who did it originally, who originated the role at the Cleveland Playhouse. And then we have people who've never done it. So it runs the gamut of people all over the place. So there are fresh fresh takes, fresh eyes. There's acceptance of what you do. There's morphing of what I do to fit in with what they're doing. It's been really joyous in exploring that whole kind of thing. And it's really rare that you have that opportunity to do something like that.
Right. I'm going to put you on the spot like this, and this is out of respect for your cast members. No one take this personally. You are specifically Mrs. White. You're not playing Mrs. White in this mindset. So you are the full embodiment of Mrs. White.
Uh-oh, okay.
Which character would you like to off with which instrument in which room? Like if you thought Mrs. White, like you're Mrs. White, you think you can get away with it, who goes down?
Oh, Mr. Green. And I would probably use my rope and choke him out. He's always screaming. He's always carrying on. And it's too much for me. I can't stand it. I would never shoot someone. That's not my style. The anger, the flames on the side of my face, they come up, they take over, and I have to kill.
And which room would it be?
In what room would it be? The dining room. It would be in the dining room. I don't know, there's just something about the dining room. He could sit at a chair and I just put that rope right around his neck, choke him right out.
Well, Mr. Green better be on good behavior this week.
You better be on good behavior, real. Most people would have like some kind of cutie answer, and I'm just like, no, I'm getting real.
No, that's what we want. We want the real answer to all of this, for Mr. Green, and we don't want him to actually feel like, oh my God, she's coming after me.
But honestly, I will say when we're doing the show every night, that is part of my character. I cannot stand people who carry on. It really bothers me.
And John, this is not a personal attack. Yeah, Schartzer. I can't pronounce your last name properly, but John, this is not a personal attack. It's straight to Mr. Green.
It's straight to Mr. Green, and it's straight to my character, my Mrs. White. Gets really, really triggered by loud, annoying people, and she annoys her.
Yet you live in New York. Go figure.
I know, really.
Loud and annoying is the only place second to that is LA. So
way of life there.
You know exactly where you're going from coast to coast.
Exactly.
Yeah. You've been in so many other productions that now it's fun to be in a touring company. Let's go a little bit through your resume. You were in Groundhog's Day, Something Rotten, Anything Goes, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, and that's just Broadway. Touring, You've been in Anastasia, Little Shop of Horrors, Showboat, Beauty and the Beast, and then a bunch of other regional stuff like 42nd Street, Damn Yankees, Oklahoma. When you get to tour in comparison to have like a stationary play that you go to the same theater every night for months on end versus a week here, a month there, and so on and so forth. What is it like as a performer, to have a home base versus a touring company?
Well, it's definitely a challenge moving place to place. Living out of a suitcase, it's hard. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I mean, there's part I really do like in that I get to experience all these cities and all the different cultures, the different food, the different people. And that's one of the things I really like about touring is whenever you go to a new theater, you find out what they find funny. There's some of the same things they find funny. There's some of the things they don't find as funny as other cities. You're like, I was getting a huge laugh there in the last city, but they're not finding that so funny here. And I'm not doing anything different. Okay. And then in the next city, they're back to like rip roaring laughing, like crazy, stopping the show, laughing at a moment that barely got a titter in the last city. So that's like something you have to really like prepare yourself for when you get to a new city and you're opening night and you're like, what are we going to get? Are they going to respond? How far away are they? Is this house that is going to love this show as we do it? Or are they going to like cheer afterwards? Is it going to be both? So there's like a mystery kind of involved in the setup of this show in particular. It's been truthful. It's been true rather in every show that I've done that has toured. There has been that little puzzle piece. But particularly in this show, because it's so fast paced and there's so many jokes. It's constantly funny, that you really quickly learn what these particular audiences are gonna respond like, and you adapt the show based on that, really. You do.
Is there one
So that's,
oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
oh, I was just saying, so that's kind of fun actually as an actor.
Is there one particular joke, like during the first dress rehearsal, that you kept cracking up that you were afraid you were going to blow it live on stage?
Um, no, it's more like what other people do. When, for me, I mean, I will say that I'm really hard to break. I'm just, that's not a brag, it's just the truth. Sometimes when other people do stuff on stage, it's in particular Wadsworth, Mark Price. We kind of try to crack each other up, not purposely, I mean, yes, purposely, but we're usually laughing in the wings about something, and then we'll poke our heads out and be completely in character, and then a door will close and we're crying, laughing backstage. We look like psychos. So, and we kind of are, but I'd say maybe that above all else was like, how are we going to hold it together on stage when we're doing something, because we make each other laugh so hard.
You know, there is
Yeah.
a famous story of Charlie Chaplin having dressed up as himself and lost a Charlie Chaplin lookalike contest. On Wednesday, July 24th, there is the Clue character costume contest.
Oh.
You know, what, like, would it be disconcerting or heartbreaking if anybody from the cast went in full character and costume and still lost in front of everybody before getting on stage that night?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I would probably lose only because I am not dressed like the Mrs. White in the movie at all. They've gone a completely different way with how I'm portrayed as far as, well, I'm all in black, obviously, but hairstyle, all the dress, everything is very different. We're all quite different than the movie. So if you're looking at that, we probably all lose.
And nobody's dressed like the board game box cover?
No, no, it's its own thing. It's really is its own thing. Yeah. Because
When you get
Mrs. White in the board game is like the cook and maid. Mrs. White was the cook and maid. So the idea that Mrs. White became this Black Widow, so to speak, was a completely different conceit for the movie. But we do get a maid in the show, just like in the movie.
So, you know, forget the rope, Mr. Green's going with food poisoning if we're going to combine.
Yeah, maybe, yeah, if it was the board game, exactly.
Yeah, it looks like you guys are having fun with this touring company, enjoying city to city. You mentioned some things get bigger laughs in one town than another, but it still seems to be this very positive reaction to everything that's being done. You know, how is that getting off stage and then like trying to relax for tomorrow's performance when you know opening night just hit so hard?
I don't know, we're just kind of used to it now. You just kind of let it roll off your back. Like last night, we had a few mishaps. There were some sound issues. As often the case when we first get to a new city, we're basically doing it for the first time with the, we have the crew that travels with us, but then whatever the local crew is, they're doing it for the first time. So it's basically their dress rehearsal. And we're in front of a paying crowd. So there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that the audience doesn't know about, that we honestly don't usually deal with as the show finds its legs in each new city. So the first night's always a little crazy. Like we're not only learning how the audience is going to respond, how far away from the audience we are, there's things that go wrong. They just put the set up. So last night we had doorknobs come off and we couldn't get out certain doors. And in a door comedy, because this is a door comedy with slamming doors and going, it was a little bit disconcerting. We had to find different ways out and different ways in. And so to your question, it's just part of the game now, so to speak. We're just all up for the whim of it. We just have to kind of go as given to us, and we go, we have fun, we go for a drink afterwards sometimes, and then we do it again. We're just it's a really great crew of people. We've all got each other's backs, and we all have fun doing it.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing the show. I'm excited for the costume contest.
Yeah, me too. I didn't even know about that. That sounds exciting.
Yeah, that's Wednesday, July 24th. The costume contest is coming to the Segerstrom.
We
So
should go judge it. We should be
sound,
the judge.
ooh, we'll send that to the PR team. Where can we find you on social media if we want to connect with you? And why should people come out for this 5-day run in Orange County at the Segerstrom?
Well, they should come out because it's a rollicking good time, if I may say so myself. Never has there been fun with murder. That's what cracks me up about it. Everyone's getting murdered and everyone's laughing about it. I think we really need this right now, the way the world is, whatever's happening, there's just a lot of tension in the world right now. I can say that across the board, and this relieves tension for 80 minutes, even though the play is very about murder and tension. It's funny, and people need to laugh in their lives. As far as finding me, I have a website, www.tarikelly.com. I am on Instagram. That's Broadway's Tari Kelly. And yeah, that's behind me. I don't post a lot. I'm not a big social media person, much to many people's dismay, but also the clue on tour as far as what we're doing. We post a lot on there for the show. Yeah.
Tari Kelly, thank you so much for talking to me today. Clue coming to the Segerstrom Center for the Arts from July 23rd through the 28th, Wednesday, July 24th at 6:30 p.m. at the Julianne and George Argos Plaza is the costume contest. First 100 people coming in get a claim jumper, steak, dinner, and bar appetizer voucher. Good luck to the people that are competing and hopefully to the winners. And I cannot wait to see this in person.
Awesome. Can't wait to see you there.